Good evening, friends. Today I am going to speak about the topic uh, from that anthology of Indian writing in English, which has been prescribed to that Periyar University English first year student second semester. The first poem, the Unit 1 first poem, Harp of India. You know very well, harp means the ancient one of the musical instrument. Now it is not in use. Not in use. Even the people are not ready to listen its music. Once upon a time, that is the greatest music. Greatest and music, the harmonious notes and lyrics comes out through the harp. Even even Thiruvalluvar is also used to used that instrument harp. குழலினிது யாழினிது என்பார்கள் அவரவர்தம் மழலை சொல் கேளாதவர்கள் அப்படின்னு யாழ் in Tamil harp means yaழ். That yaழ் is unused and placed in that any one of that tree and the tree and they placed by that Indian people to arrival of the British rule, because British introduced some and the musical drums and violin, guitar, this kind of and some kind of new instrument. People loves very much the drums, very much the guitar, very much this violin, but not and like the harp of India. That means India is one of the and magnificent country or developed country in the world before British rule. Before British rule, Indian culture, Indian education, Indian the way of life, everything is changed by the British. And this poem deals about the mourning of the ancient poet, as well as yearning for that arrival of reintroduce of this ancient culture and ancient way of life once again after 191 years. The Harp of India, Henry Derozio, born in the year of 1809 and died in the year of 1831, and he lived before 191 years ago. But we are speaking about and him and about him because of this small poem. This is this more small and nostalgical, and also it consists lot of historical elements. So that is why people used to say art is life is short and art is long. கல்வி கரையில் கற்பவர் நாள் சில. Anybody and indulge their life in the field of education, they can lead that immortal life in this world. So the Harp of India, before going to see this poem, and it is our due rights to know about this other biography, who is Henry Derozio, H-E-N-R-Y, Derozio, D-E-R-O-Z-I-O. That is important. Biography of other Indian. All the Indians used to give biography of that writer, biography of that person, biography of that any leader or a scientist and whoever might be. Then only people decides to whether like or and dislike. That is Indian nature. Indian nature. He is Henry Derozio is an Indian and born and brought up in British India, not that this present India, Indians. He is the poet, and Henry Derozio is a poet and assistant headmaster of Hindu College, which is established in Calcutta, Hindu College, and assistant headmaster and a radical thinker. And he has some kind of revolutionaries and ideas to and restore our greatness once again in our and country. And he has written that radical thinker and first Indian educator to disseminate the Western learnings and the science among the young man of the son of Indian father. His father is an Indian, mother it is English mother and British mother, and he influenced by English romantic poet. He influenced by the English romantic poet. At his age of 17, he published patriotic verses. He published the patriotic verses like Mahagavi, Bharati, like Torudat, like Rabindranath Tagore, and many more writers, Bharati Dasan, and many more writers published by his age of 17. But even at this age of 52, I cannot write anything because I did not get any trouble, any problem in this free India. That is slave Indian. He conceived a lot of things in his life, things in his life, patriotic verses which brought him to attention of that intellectual elite and attention of the intellectual elite of Calcutta, and which brought him by his brilliant teaching influenced his student. By his brilliant teaching, he influenced the students and won their loyalty. In the year of 1828, his student organized an academic association, a debating society that drew both Britain and Indian citizen and discussions of religion and philosophy, just like Peace TV. How that Zagir Naik discuss about that religious doctrines of this Islam and Hindu and Muslims and many more religions, and through that Peace TV, the same manner the association was established by students. Nowadays, any student and interest and having interest and involvement to form any association to take that knowledgeable and a wise discussion. Thanks, sir. A wise discussion of religion and philosophy. It is a source that the students and teachers were in the great thirst of knowledge and wisdom in those days. Now I am going to give some introductions to that poem. Introduction to the poem. It celebrate the glorious past of India. It represent the and glorious past of India, and moreover it is lost because of British rule, and end with the hope that Indian will regain its glory. What is that? Glorious past of India, because even the human rights only for affluent people, kings, monarch and rulers, lords and richest people enjoyed all the wealth, all the property, all the things, and the rest of the people and cannot get even the fundamental human rights. They suffered lot. Working class were tortured and oppressed in those days. That is a glorious past. 100% no rights. The fellow human beings, poor people, working class did not treat as human beings. That is glorious to India. Glorious to India. And regarding in that place here, and Indians, because after 1945 only establishment of United Nations Organization, and after arrival of the British only, all the people were treated equally without any discriminations on the basis of religion, on the basis of the caste and color, economic status, and political power, whatever it may be. And regarding for this, they cannot tolerate and digest and giving and sharing that rights and happiness to all the people, and end with the hope of that Indian will regain its glory. Regain its means once again the plans to and prevent and revoke that all the rights which has been given to all the people regarding with this, and that is why NDA is working regarding for this. Like that it happened. And what was happening in France, same thing will happen in India. What was happening in Russia, that will happen in. What was happening in that American War of Independence, same thing will happen. What was happened to Indian independence, the same manner all the people should join together to protest against that Indian rulers to sustain and establish their states which was given by that British people. And he uses it as a symbol for that Indian poet. The harp is associated for Indian poet who were famous in those days only for that and high class people, upper class people have only rights to become a poet and teachers and writers and many more things. Nowadays that has been distributed, given opportunity to all the people. Yes. And the poet who were famous, but under the British world they are suffering. Before British rule, only a particular group of people were being as a teacher, being as a great scholar and poet, that is everything belongs to that. And upper, even Thiruvalur was rejected by even in this 21st centuries because he belongs to that and fourth class and Sudras and many more things for this. It cannot be digested and that people. It is a sonnet. It's different from. It is different form from the traditional sonnet. Traditional sonnet consists of 14 lines. Whether it is octave and sestet for Italian sonnet, then English and Elizabeth Shakespearean sonnet and four couplet and four lines and quatrains, three quatrains and one couplet. Like that a rhyme scheme will be changed like that. A B Abba Abba, C D C D, E C E C, like that. And A B C D C D, E F G G. It is the pattern of that Shakespeare sonnet. But it is pattern is A B A, B B A, B C D, C D C, B B. Last couplet and give the solution. It consists of two sections. This is sonnet, the Harp of India, which was written by Henry Derozio, and two parts. The first part, the poet laments the loss of the glorious past of India, loss of the glorious past. That is only the cursed past, because only minority people enjoyed everything for this. Majority people were suffer lot without any fundamental rights, without any basic fundamental things, without having they worked hard to get their basic fundamental things. And that time, glorious past of India. And the second and part, the poet hopes that glory will be back. Once again, they plans to oppress that innocent people in the name of the religion, in the name of the caste, and in the name of the economical status and political status regarding with this. That is highly, it is not possible. That is the blunt idea. It has been formulated Henry Derozio and was suffered a lot. That is why he wanted to get all the 100% rights to that one few people, and he wanted to take the people into the darkest world once again here. The theme of this poem, it is a nostalgic poem by Henry Derozio. It is thing about the past and past before 191 years back, and what is the condition of this Indian people. The Indian people were and lived in the lived without food and without shelter, without any facilities like medical and school and government. People lead that self-reliant life. They lead only by that agriculture and other related work done. But nowadays, but a pure land, they were lived in that pure land without any pollutions. They get a pure water, pure air, pure and delicious and tasty food in those days. And after arrival of this British rule in all over the world, industrial revolutions happens do that, and people's lost their and happiness and peace of mind, and everything was polluted. Here it is that water everywhere, nor a drop to drink. Water is here, water is there, water is everywhere. These lines were used by Coleridge and while standing in that polar regions, by his sin, his ship was captured. Water is here, but water is how much water? It is Ramanayakan Lake. After 21 years, this lake is filled with water. And this area is only barren land. Water is here, and to increase that groundwater level and many more things. And regarding what this, like that, they want to bring how did India was ruled before 200 years ago. The same atmosphere, the same policy, the same principles. They try to implement once again. That is that nostalgic poem by Henry Derozio, and it celebrates that magnificent Indian past and lament over the loss that is caused by British rule. What is the last? And the upper class lost many things, but all the rights and all the property, all the opportunities and divided and given to all the people without any discrimination by that British people, that cannot be digested and reiterated. It is end with that hope. It is with the hope that one day India will regain its glory. Regain its glory. India was in regain its glory. He remained for that. That is oppression and that discrimination and inhuman practices upon that innocent people, because no innocent people nowadays. All people had got that European education and also many more education. All are knowledgeable. And in those days, 200 years ago, the people were in the innocent without education. They were lived. All the people had got education. Once again, I highlight it is not possible. Bring that past once again to India, unless our land will be revolution happens like French Revolution, many more things. It is that word harp is used for the poet, the famous Indian poet, famous who are that Indian. And the poet he deals about like told that Rabindranath Tagore and many more writers are there. Many more writers. Only before that Thiruvalluvar was living and Kaniyan Punguttanar was living, and also this Ottakuthan and many more Elangovadigal were lived. They did not speak about that. But they did not get any honor during that time but nowadays they were honored, they were respected, they were worshipped by their own group of peoples. But the greatest people once upon a time, they did not be given a lot of importance for this poet, and under this British rule are now in suffering. Whoever enjoyed a lot of things before arrival of that British rule, and that people is suffering now because they cannot digest the development of this all the people without any discrimination. Even in America there was racial discrimination. Due to that people were affected. That people used to give equal importance, more important to the black people. They did not judge the people by the color, and nowadays they are judging the people characters with their attitude, with their many things for this. Now I am going to read out the poem which was written by Henry Derozio about the harp of India. The first line: why hangest thou lovely? Why hangest thou lovely on you withered boughs? The first line: why hangest thou lonely on yonder withered boughs, but that musical instrument, ancient musical instrument was hanging on that withered tree of that boughs, unstrung forever. Hereafter people not play music in it. Must though there remain, even though he remain in that place. Even in my hand, like harp, I am having his lion in my hat, in my hand. And thy music once was sweet. The harp music was once sweet and sweeter and sweetest. People enjoyed a lot and a lot of things. Who hear it now? Who can hear that music of the harp here? And all the people loves very much to listen that and drums. Listen that violin, that keyboard music, and Western musics rather than Indian music like classic. Even the people loves very much impressed by that folk songs and folk music nowadays. Who hear it now? Who no one is ready to listen that music of that harp, and also no one have the knowledge about to play the harp. Also, the people nowadays, all the musician having and advanced and musical instrument than that and harp have only that seven and strings and music it is not possible. Why do the breeze sing over thee in vain? The breeze, while that the harp was on that upon that tree, the breeze. Now I am enjoying that breeze from this Ramanayakan lake water and chill air. But already Osuri is very cool and chill. But enjoy this and water from here. Why do the breeze shy over thee in vain? Best of and thinking about and speaking about praising about is waste. The silence hath bound thee with her fatal chain. Silence hath bound. But you cannot make noise, make and music or tunes from you. And with her fatal chain, you have been chained. No one can, British people and banned that music, and neglected, rejected by the Indian people. And that is mute, that cannot and produce any and music in it. Desolate art though. You are desolated. Desolate means if the man desolate his family and embrace the and sannyasi and many more things. The children were desolated and rested and leave that things like that. The harp is alone in that bow of that withered trees. No one see, no one like to take that harp and play it because that has been chained by the British. That the British did not allow to play that musical instrument, did not allow to get any and chance of getting happiness by singing and playing music and making dance in those days. Neglected music, desolate art though. Like even Indian countries also, Indian culture, Indian education, Indian way of art and literature, everything is banned and prohibited by that British people. That cannot be. Now Indian people loves very much to listen the English songs, English music, English culture, English way of life, Indian like that. How that harp and hang on that tree, same things. Our old traditional culture and values, everything has been and put onto this and trees and desolated in that place, desert plain. Oh, and many hands more and worthy far than mine. Many hands, many people were played that harp. Many people had written many lyrics, many songs, many harmonious with that. The people loves very much to hear in that things. And once the harmonious and chord to sweetness gave once upon a time. The sweetest song, sweetest music come out from the the chord of that, the string of that and harp. Now it is unused, unplayed. It is remain and waste. But some of this Indian culture, Indian way of life, traditions and practices remain and preserved by that some of traditional and people, those who were enjoyed total freedom, total rights and total happiness they did not give rest equally to all the people before 200 years ago. And many a wrath for them due to fame and winds of the flowers still blowing on that minstrel grave. Now that people, the ancient poet, the ancient musicians and graveyard is decorated and celebrated and worshipped by that people. The thing about reverberated their writings, reverberated their musings, they try to bring out and the ancient and traditional way, inhuman way of life once again and by passing many dangerous fields to the people, not getting equal opportunity to all the talented peoples belongs to all the
and four categories of this, and Brahmanas, Vaishyas, Satriyas and Sudras. In all classes there is that beautiful and talented persons. All people must be given equal importance, unless many dangerous things will happen in this world. The flowers is still blooming on that ministerial grave. Ministerial means the ancient poet, ancient musician, ancient great philosophers, their doctrines, ideas, and reintroduced in this 21st century is attempt of this blind attempt and mute attempt, lamb and practices, frequent practices. It will not give the sound things from here. Those hands are cold, but if the notes divine, those hands are cold. That means they will not indulge for any kinds of charitable things, helping things to others. They will not give that music senses to their fellow human beings. They denied that music of that harp on the basis of that caste and basis of that religions, on the basis of that region and color, that is denied. That is why that harp was put into the waste place upon that tree and hanging alone, unused, without a string. That's remain, that is unused in that place. Those hands are cold, but if thy notes divine, this is a very good, nice, fantastic, that will make mesmerizing. It is attracting and all the people. Greatness is there, but greatness was denied. Now that greatness, because of that, that is developed. But mean things are generously given to all the people. They were addicted to have all those things in that place. And maybe by mortal and weakened once again, weakened once again, maybe weakened once again, the harp of my country. That means the harp of ancient traditional and musical instrument. Let me strike the strain. With a great effort, once again they try to reintroduce that ancient traditional way of life, the classical way of life, anarchy and monarchies, and the way of life. Once again they try to give add sufferings to all the people, denial of that the great things, not giving to all the peoples to generously. They plans to reintroduce. If they give that great things once again to all the people without any discrimination, means that will be accepted, that welcomed. Even that was denied, possessed by only that same group of people, minorities of that and the topmost people, they not denied, means and the bloodshed, blood and this area is become meet that many things from here. Maybe by that mortal weekend once again, the harp of my country, let me strike the strain. That's why NDA and CAA and RRE, many bills and a NEET examination, TRB, after getting that many university degrees, they are keeping and many tests and entrance examinations. After that, making great burden to eliminate and also the filtered lot of the people to deny their opportunity regarding for this. In many central universities, state universities, in many government schools, and many more vacancies are there. According to this and many quota system, that is not built, that is not filled by that the government not come forward, because in the basis of the and qualities education regarding for this, everybody has the talent, but they did not have their qualification which is formulated by some of that inhuman dangerous people regarding with this and filtered from here. And maybe by the mortal weekend once again, mortal weekend once again. Mortal means and this is temporary things and is vacant once again that will be implemented. The harp of my country, let me strike the train, take many risks to establish and the ancient glory to invent for this. Once again I would like to read this poem, Harp of India, written by Derozio. the father, son and daughters of that Indian father and British mother, and he has written all the things. But though even though he enjoyed a lot of freedom and happiness, he favoritism for this own culture, own tradition was the best things should be given to all the people without any barrier and without any discrimination. That is wonderful things regarding for this. Why hangest to the lonely on you, and yonder withered boughs, unstrung forever, must thou there remain, unstrung for ever must thou there remain. Thy music once was sweet, who hear it now? Once upon a time your music is sweet, but who is hear it now? No one is ready to listen. And why doth the breeze sing over thee in vain? Silence hath bound thee with the fatal chain, fatal. The government, British rule, British rulers, recklessly, all the great things you consider that is great things, greatest things, that is meanest things according to their point of view, is stopped, prevented, prohibited, and stopped by that British rule. Neglect, mute, and desolate art, though your art. Everything was neglected, rejected, neglected summarily. That was mute, silenced, and we should not and speak about that. That is remaining that desolate art, though. Desolated, that is not practiced and welcomed by anybody's ceramic. Oh, many hands more worthy far than mine. Many hands, many people, and have become that and worthy far than mine. Many people did not get that greatness and best art of that music and harp, and the best fruit of this effort of an Indian great culture is denied, and maximum was suffered lot without that. Once the harmonious heart the sweetness gave, once it has given that harmonious before arrival of that British, before establishment of this and establishment of that class system, and they lead that all the people are harmonious and peaceful life, fraternity life without any discrimination. After arrival of this Aryan only race and make that disharmonious everywhere. All the great things have been and possessed by that people, denied to all the greatest good things. That is why. And many a wreath for them did fame in vain. Many a wreath. Wherever that great scholar goes, they used to put garland, the honored and welcomed, and also they were and their fame and name is spread all over the world. I have given that Kanyan Punkundran words like Yadam Ure Yavarum Kelir, Ondre Kulam Urvane Devan. I am the citizen of the world. All are my kith and kin. That is that wonderful phrase in that couplet translated in all the world languages. All the world languages, the greatness. But the Indians, the harp during that before 200 years ago, and lived that people cannot accept that great things because of this and caste system and varnashar and many more things. That is stupid and nonsense ideas to reintroduced by this 21st centuries means that kind of peoples to sweep away, removed from this surface of that soil. The huge fish is and coming towards this area, just like and even that and whales hear that music of this and some of this McFlucknown is mentioned by English writer. Many fish also come towards in this area, and many wreath for them did fame and win, and in all the directions, east, west, and north and south, their fame and name spread all over world without any and difficulties. The flowers still blooming on that ministerial grave nowadays, ministerial and all that and the great philosophers and great poets, great musicians and died, and their graves was decorated and work was really important ideas used to give, and those hands are cold, but it thy not divine, that knoweth divine, and once upon a time the hands hold, but it's thy notes divine. Their art is divine, no problem. Their hand is cold, it's reckless, without mercy. That was denied to all the people. and maybe by mortal weaken once again. Mortal weaken, mortal. The human beings would become that weakened peoples once again. The harp of my country, the greatness, great musicians. Let me to strike the strain from here. It is a wonderful, nice poem, and contrast study about and British India. And before British India, before 200 years, and how that Indians were lead that peaceful, happy, and knowledgeable life, and rather after the during the British period and British rule, what was happened in that all our Indian and education, Indian culture, Indian way of life, Indian food, Indian system of life, everything was and diluted like that harp by the British government to welfare of all the people. That's why they have ruled India for nearly 200 years. And they did a lot of good things and without any discrimination, opportunities to all the people on the basis of the talent, basis of the merits, and British and American peoples to give importance to the intelligence and knowledge of that people and the greatness of the people. They will not give importance to that color or any the caste or many more things, discriminations. They used to give importance, they accept goodness from everywhere. That is why they were number one in this world. But we people not accept goodness. Even the goodness from that top, no goodness with the people and talent, many more things. They only strived and catch hold everything to get that basic fundamental things only. But did they invent anything like Jews? And they invent anything like and many more Indians, common man and common people achieved for welfare of that whole human folk. Highly it is not possible regarding for this. This very good, nice the poem which was written by the Harp of India, Henry Derozio, and he lived before 191 years ago. But still is living. We are speaking about that his ideas, everlasting, and remain in our heart. But anyhow, we must give. Any Indian had that great values and sweet and sweeters and the sweet. The most sweetest things should be shared to all the people means and that will be accepted. Hereafter, with a cruel hand, not possible to reintroduces that ancient and old system. Once again means this land will be devastated and ruined by that knowledgeable and people to stand against the once again highly it is not possible by anarchy and many more things. And remedy for this, what that kings and monarchs and rulers and did enjoyed lot of things. It is humble request and the same system of system which was introduced by British people and Arabians people rulers upon us. It should be and encouraged and the greatest of Indian ancient doctrines things should be shared to all the people means there is a possibility to establish integrity and make that harmonious relationship between the values. So we must give importance to virtuous things of that ancient should be maintained, sustained, developed by all the people from here. Because like that if there is a virtue in the heart, there is a beauty in the character. When there is a beauty in the character, that is harmony in the house. When there is a harmony in the house, there is order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, there is a peace in the world. So all these things should be given equally to all the people. People also should give importance to get all these greatest things for welfare of that future generation as well as that present generations. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope definitely you will like and subscribe, share my videos. Thank you friends. Bye.